prostate cancer.
Right. And the reason we're talking about it is you had it.
I had prostate cancer a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for this test that we're going to talk about,
What if a simple blood test could save your life? At 48, Ben Stiller was diagnosed with prostate cancer, a disease that could have been deadly. But here's the shocking truth: he survived because of one critical decision. His story isn't just about Hollywood resilience, it's a wake-up call for every man. If you're over 40 or have a loved one who is, what you're about to hear could change everything. Stay with me, this is life-saving knowledge. Ben Stiller's shocking diagnosis. Picture this. It's 2014, and Ben Stiller is at the top of his game. He's making hit movies, making people laugh, living what seems like the perfect life. He feels healthy, strong, no warning signs, no reason to worry. Then one day, his doctor suggests a routine PSA test. Just a simple blood test. Nothing to stress over, right? But when the results come back, everything changes. Ben later described that moment like a punch to the gut. The doctor told him he had prostate cancer. No symptoms. No pain. Just a number on a lab report that said his life was about to take a terrifying turn. Now, here's what makes this so shocking. Prostate cancer is supposed to be an old man's disease. Most guys don't even think about it until their 60s or 70s. But Ben was only 48. No family history. No red flags. If his doctor hadn't insisted on that test, he might never have known, until it was too late. And that's the scary part. Prostate cancer is a silent killer. By the time most men feel something's wrong, the cancer has often spread. But in Ben's case, because they caught it early, he had options. He had a fighting chance. Think about that for a second. How many guys do you know who avoid the doctor until something hurts? How many brush off checkups because they feel fine? Ben could have been one of them. But that one test, that one decision, saved his life. If you're still watching this and this hits close to home, I want you to do something right now. Comment early below, let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button and turn on notifications. Because what comes next could save your life or the life of someone you love. Now, let's talk about the test that changed everything for Ben, the PSA test. But before we do, I need you to ask yourself one question: when was the last time you got checked? The PSA test, what you don't know. Let's talk about the test that saved Ben Stiller's life, the PSA test. If you're a man over 40, or you love someone who is, you need to understand this. Because here's the truth, most guys don't know what this test really does, or why it's so important. And that ignorance could cost them everything. PSA stands for prostate-specific antigen. Sounds complicated, but it's simple. It's a protein your prostate makes, and a small amount of it leaks into your blood. The PSA test measures how much is floating around in there. If the number's too high, it could mean cancer. Now, here's where things get controversial. Some doctors will tell you PSA tests aren't perfect. And they're right, sometimes the numbers can be high for other reasons, like an infection or just getting older. That's why a lot of men hear, "Don't worry about it yet," or "Let's just wait and see." But here's what they're not telling you: waiting is how men die. Ben's doctor didn't wait. When his PSA levels were higher than they should have been at his age, they dug deeper. They did more tests. And because of that, they caught his cancer early, back when it could still be treated. Think about how different his story could have been. If he'd listened to the doctors who said, "Come back in a year," or "It's probably nothing," that cancer could have grown, spread, become untreatable. And Ben's not alone. Studies show that when prostate cancer is caught before it spreads, the 5-year survival rate is nearly 100%. But once it spreads, that number drops to 30%. So why aren't more men getting this test? Because too many people, even doctors, are scared of false alarms. They'd rather avoid the stress of extra tests than risk missing cancer. But ask yourself, would you rather have a false alarm, or a funeral? If you're a man over 40, or you have a father, brother, husband, or son in that age range, listen to me, get tested. Don't wait for symptoms. Don't assume you're fine. Early detection isn't just an option, it's the difference between life and death. And if your doctor brushes it off, push back. Say, I want the test anyway. This is your health. Your life. Be stubborn about it. Let's start a conversation that could save lives. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Because what we're talking about today, it's too important to miss. Let me ask you something, how many of these lies have you believed about prostate cancer? Only old men get it. Here's the scary truth, prostate cancer doesn't care how old you are. While it's more common after 50, cases in men under 55 have jumped 46% in recent years. Ben Stiller was 48. Actor Ryan Reynolds lost his father to it at just 58. This isn't just an old man's problem anymore. You'll know if something's wrong. This might be the most dangerous lie of all. Prostate cancer gives no warning. No pain. No symptoms. By the time you feel something's off, it's often too late for easy treatment. Ben felt completely healthy. His only symptom? A number on a blood test. PSA tests cause unnecessary worry. Some doctors claim these tests lead to overtreatment. But here's what they don't say, new techniques mean biopsies are safer than ever. And even if your PSA is high for non-cancer reasons, isn't it better to know? If it's slow growing, you can wait. Tell that to the wife who just buried her 52-year-old husband. Even slow cancers can turn aggressive fast. Waiting is gambling with your life. You're safe if no one in your family had it. Wrong again. While family history increases risk, most men who get prostate cancer have no relatives with it. Ben had zero family history. Here's the bottom line, prostate cancer is sneaky. It hides. It lies in wait. And the only way to beat it is to go looking for it before it's ready to strike. That's why Ben went public with his story. Not for attention, but because he knows most men won't get checked until it's too late. He's trying to change that. So let me ask you, which of these myths have you believed? Comment below with the number, 1 through 5. Let's see how many people have been fooled by these dangerous lies. Ben's battle, treatment and recovery. Let me take you inside the fight of Ben Stiller's life, the battle he never saw coming. The moment of truth when Ben got his diagnosis, he faced every man's worst nightmare, I have cancer. In interviews, he described those first days like living in a fog. The fear. The uncertainty. The crushing weight of knowing your body has betrayed you. But here's what set Ben apart, he didn't freeze. He didn't hide. He attacked his cancer with the same intensity he brought to his comedy. The treatment decision. Ben's doctors laid out his options: surgery, complete prostate removal, radiation active surveillance, monitoring without immediate treatment. After consulting multiple specialists, Ben chose robotic prostatectomy, minimally invasive surgery. Why? Because with his cancer caught early, surgery offered the best chance to eliminate the cancer completely. The operation that changed everything. The morning of surgery, Ben later admitted, was the most scared he'd ever been. You realize how fragile life is, he said. For 4 tense hours, surgeons worked to remove his prostate while preserving surrounding nerves. When he woke up, 2 things hit him: the cancer was gone, his fight was just beginning. The hardest part nobody talks about: recovery wasn't just physical. The emotional toll was brutal. Ben opened up about the shame of incontinence issues, fears about intimacy, the haunting, what if it comes back, thoughts. But here's the inspiring part, Ben used his platform to break the silence. He became the voice most men are afraid to be, saying out loud what thousands suffer in silence. Turning pain into purpose. Once cleared cancer-free, Ben didn't just move on. He Became a vocal advocate for early testing, partnered with cancer organizations, convinced countless men to get checked. His most powerful message: I'm lucky. My story could have been very different if we'd waited. Life after cancer today, Ben calls his diagnosis a gift, not because cancer is good, but because it forced him to reevaluate what matters, cherish time with family, use his fame to save lives. The scars remain, both physical and emotional. But as Ben puts it, I'd rather have scars than regrets. Your turn to act, because here's the truth: Ben's survival wasn't about luck. It was about action. And that's a choice available to every man watching this. How to protect yourself? Let's get straight to the point. Prostate cancer doesn't have to be a death sentence. Not if you take action. Right now. Today. Who needs to get tested? The old rules don't apply anymore. Here's who should demand a PSA test: all men starting at age 40, yes, 40, not 50, African American men at 35, higher risk, anyone with a family history, father/brother had it. Start 10 years before their diagnosis age. Ben was 48 with no family history. If he'd waited until 50 like old guidelines suggest, he might not be here today. How to get your doctor to listen? Many physicians still follow outdated guidelines. Walk in prepared with these exact words: I understand PSA testing has limitations, but I want to establish my baseline numbers now. If you won't order the test, please note in my chart that I requested it and you refused. This changes everything. Doctors suddenly become much more cooperative when they have to document refusal of care. Understanding your numbers: PSA results aren't black and white, under 1 nanogram per milliliter at 40. Low risk between 1 to 2 nanograms per milliliter at 40. Monitor annually above 2.5 nanograms per milliliter at any age. Red flag. But here's what most men miss: it's not just the number, it's the velocity. A PSA that doubles in a year is an emergency, even if the number still seems low. Life-saving lifestyle changes. While nothing guarantees prevention, these steps slash your risk. Eat the rainbow: cooked tomatoes, lycopene, cruciferous veggies, broccoli, cauliflower, pomegranate and berries. Sweat regularly. Men who exercise vigorously 3+ hours/week have 61% lower risk of aggressive prostate cancer. Ditch these 3 things: processed meats, bacon, hot dogs, high-fat dairy, excessive alcohol. The annual checklist for every man. Mark your calendar for these essentials. PSA blood test: digital rectal exam. Yes, it's awkward, but 5 seconds of discomfort beats years of treatment. Full metabolic panel: when to sound the alarm, drop everything and demand immediate follow-up if you notice new erectile dysfunction, blood and semen, frequent nighttime urination. These aren't just getting older symptoms, they're potential warning signs. The conversation you need to have today: call your father, brothers, uncles, and friends. Say this: I care about you too much to not ask, when was your last PSA test? If they dodge the question, send them this video. It might be the most important gift you ever give them. Because knowledge only saves lives when we act on it. Ben acted. Will you? Your life could depend on this. Let's be brutally honest for a moment. Right now, as you watch this, there's a silent killer that could be growing inside you or someone you love. And you wouldn't even know it. That's the terrifying truth about prostate cancer. Ben Stiller's story could have ended very differently. If he had waited. If he had listened to the outdated advice. If he had ignored that little voice telling him to get checked. But he didn't. And that's why he's alive today. Here's what I need you to understand: you have the same choice Ben did. The same opportunity to catch danger early. The same chance to write a different ending to your story. Think about the men in your life. Your father who's always been your rock, your brother you've shared everything with, your best friend who's like family, yourself, because your life matters just as much now. Ask yourself, what if? What if you could have caught it early? What if you could have prevented years of suffering? What if you could have saved a life? This isn't about fear. It's about power. The power to take control. The power to change outcomes. The power to be there for all the moments that matter. I'm going to make this simple for you. Here's exactly what to do next. Before this day ends, call your doctor and schedule a PSA test. Have that uncomfortable conversation with the men you care about. Commit to making this an annual checkup. No excuses. Your life is worth 15 minutes at a lab. Your future is worth an awkward conversation. Your family is worth this small effort. I'll leave you with Ben's own words: early detection saves lives. It saved mine. Get checked. Now it's your turn. The ball is in your court. The choice is yours. What will you do with this information? Thank you for watching this important video. If you've made it this far, I know you care about your health. So let me hear from you. Leave a comment below sharing one thing you learned today and how you'll put it into action. Your story could inspire someone else to take that life-saving step. If this video helped you, please pay it forward, like, share, and subscribe. Together, we can spread awareness that saves lives. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters most: more time with the people we love.